Let's talk about reporting and cyber defensibility attestation in Liongard. So far, we have talked about how Liongard's advanced automated documentation can serve as a bedrock for effective cyber asset inventory and discovery, and how, with that automated documentation, you can track configuration changes across time. But part of what makes you a trusted advisor as an IT service provider is your ability to report, attest, and prove that you are implementing effective attack surface management. And you want to be able to prove this not just to your customers, but cyber insurance agencies, governance agencies, and compliance authorities. So in this section, we're going to focus on two major elements that can help you achieve that. One is Liongard's cyber risk dashboard, and two, our reports feature, which we've already covered a little bit of, but we're gonna get a little deeper. Now, let's talk about Liongard's cyber risk dashboard. Follow me to our demo environment. Pick an environment of your choosing on your own instance. And I'm going to pick Contoso Nation here. And over on the left-hand side, I am going to click on Cyber Risk Dashboard. And this leads us into a dashboard report giving you an overview of the cyber risk posture of your particular client environment. Now, this dashboard was built in collaboration with a couple cyber insurance brokers. Some of the questions that we asked them were, what are the fundamental building blocks of what you require to maintain a secure state within a client system or environment following those best practices? And the result was a continuous scan into those critical standards: authentication and MFA, email security, domain and website security, as well as endpoint security. And I want to talk to you about how you can leverage this dashboard. Let's begin with the authentication and MFA portion here, just to illustrate some of these concepts. So first, you're going to see a couple of tiles that you can drill into to get more insight. For instance, here on the authentication and MFA section, I can see all of my total users in Microsoft 365, and I get an image into all of the total users with MFA registered. Now I can drill into this tile and have a compliance-ready report detailing all of my users with MFA registered. I can also export this particular report into a CSV or PDF. In this example, I exported it into a CSV Excel file that I can further customize if I need to. And just like any report in Liongard, I can filter it further if I want to further modify it here within Liongard. Going back to our cyber risk dashboard, I can also look at the total users with MFA enforcement status via conditional access policies, as well as those privileged users with MFA registered, so on and so forth. Now, you'll notice that there may be some color differences. If you are green, you're usually in the clear. If it starts getting into the yellow or red state, that is something critical to look at. Now, looking down into email security, I have similar critical information into the cyber risk posture of those domains. I can look at whether SPF is found, DKIM, DMARC, so on and so forth. And like I mentioned earlier, you'll see any big gaps that require your attention if they are in red. Again, all of these tiles can be drilled down upon, and you can create and you can export specific reports based on those screens. Similarly, with domain and website security, are all of my TLS and SSL certificates up to date, or are they close to expiration? And I want to talk briefly in more detail about the endpoint security section. Now, within seconds instead of hours, I have a consolidated view into the cyber risk posture of my workstations, whether encryption at rest is enabled, what is the status of my RDP protocols across my workstations, what EDR software is installed, the status of my domain firewalls, public firewalls, private firewalls, so on and so forth. Now, I want to note that here on the tile section, you can modify, take out, or add different tiles based on your specific needs. So let's say that I'm only interested in looking at Mac OS endpoints. I'm going to go ahead and take out some of these Windows workstations, and I'm going to enable my Mac OS workstations instead. So I recommend that you take a look at this tile and customize it to your liking. And I have a similar view into my servers as well. Now, our best practice here is to not just use this cyber risk dashboard as an internal tool to track any gaps that there may be in the management of your customer attack surface, but we also encourage you to use it as a conversation tool with your end customer, whether as a QBR or whether in a pre-sales onboarding process. This can really show and attest your job as an IT service provider as you're managing your client's attack surface. And it also empowers them to see what you are doing behind the scenes to make sure that their environments and ultimately their users are safe. Now, while we're here, let's talk a little further about Liongard's report features, as it allows you to further customize some of the data that you want to aggregate for internal use or for a customer that you'd like to demonstrate some of that data to. Follow me to reports. We're going to begin at create reports, and here I have two options. I can choose to create a one-time report or a report from a template. Now, our best practice here is to create a template for a report that you see yourself using often. Perhaps you have a quarterly business review report that you'd like to create for a particular customer. Perhaps there are a number of systems that you'd like to report on at various points throughout the year. Those are all very good use cases for a report template that you can go ahead and easily recreate that report without having to build it from scratch. You can also create a one-time report if there is just some information that you perhaps may not visit often, but you just want a single report for now. Now, both are functionally very similar to build, so let's just focus on a one-time report for now. Now, let's say that in this report, I want to report on all of my environments, domains, and TLS and SSL certificates for all of my customer environments. So I'm going to name this report Domain and Certificates 2025. Great, so this is my report builder, and I have a couple options here. First, on the top, I can select which environments I would like to have the systems included for in this report. I can include several different systems all at once, or I can simply select all environments. In this case, I want to report on all environments. Now, I can choose the inspection date for this report. Perhaps I want to select a specific date. Maybe I'm building the reports in 2025, but perhaps I want to report on data for up to December 2024. But in this case, I'm going to leave it at latest inspection. Now I have the option of including disabled inspectors. So inspectors that I disabled at some point in the past, maybe I want that data in there or not. I'm gonna leave that as is. And this is really helpful. I can choose to have all of my environments in one report or separate reports per environment. I'm going to leave it as all environments in one report. Now, from here, you can have a lot of fun. I can choose different report sections to report on different data within this larger report. So let's say that here, I just want information on my domains. All right, I'm gonna select domains. Then I'm gonna select inspector type, in this case, internet domain DNS. And here I can choose which inspectors I would like to include here. In other words, all of the domains that I want included. I'm gonna select all systems. And here I can choose which metrics or data points I want surfaced in this section. So here I can look at internet domain DNS, days until expiration. I definitely want that. I want the NS record list as well. I'm also going to want to look at the admin contact. And then I also want to surface DMARC, DKIM, and SPF. And you see that within seconds, I have all of that data populated for this section. I have the system name that I'm looking at, the environment, the inspection date, days until expiration, the metric that I picked, the NS record list, the admin contact, and whether DMARC, DKIM, and SPF are found. Great. Now I'm going to add another report section. And I'm going to call this certificates. And the inspector types, I'm going to choose TLS and SSL, all inspectors, and the metrics. So I'm going to choose days until expiration, certificate issuer, supported protocols list, and we'll leave it at that actually. And just like that, I can press save. I'm gonna save changes. And just like that, I have a report compiling all of the data for all of my domains and TLS and SSL certificates across all of the customers that I manage. It only took a couple seconds, very quick, very efficient. From here, I can do a couple of things. I can add a schedule, which will automate the creation of these reports using latest inspection data. I can choose the frequency. I can add recipients, and I can enter emails with additional messaging if I would like. And this is really useful if you would like anybody outside of Liongard to have access to that particular report without giving them access to the rest of the platform. I'm not going to schedule that report just now, but from here I have a couple other options. I can download this report as an Excel or PDF file, or I can share this report, enter an email, and provide them a copy to this report. Now, if I go back to my report section, I can look at my report there. I can find it by typing in domains and certificates 2025, and it will appear. And lastly, we covered this a little bit in our last course, but don't forget about our report templates. You can create a template just as easily as you create a one-time report. It is the same exact screen, just that now you have a template that you can refer back to. So I'm not gonna go through the process of building it again. I'll select cancel. And on the templates tab, I can see all of those templates that I can just simply refer back to and pull up. Remember, the Liongard created report templates are an awesome way of creating quick reports based on critical needs that most IT service providers create report templates upon. Whether it's your workstation security posture, cyber insurance assessment, Active Directory, domain, and forest details, there are tons of report templates that you can use and align those reporting needs to CIS controls, for instance, recent critical vulnerabilities that have been uncovered. Again, a lot of gold in these Liongard created report templates. So with that in mind, use reports and Liongard Cyber Risk Dashboard to elevate your attack surface management.